My wife may never walk again. My pregnant wife works in the medical field. Got a call a couple days ago that she hurt herself and her arms were hurting and starting to go numb. She said she talked to her DR and was waiting for them to call back. I told her let me know if I needed to come get her or not. An hour later, she says they told her it is probably nothing, but she wanted to go home. I go to pick her up, and when I get there, she's in tears and can't move her arms and can't feel/move her fingers. As we walk outside, I told her we're going to ER. We get to ER, and between work and ER, she can no longer feel her legs, and they're uncontrollably spasming every 3 to 5 seconds. They call a med alert or something like that. Crew, and they lift her out of the car and onto a stretcher. We go inside, and they check her out and do ultrasound and say baby is fine, strong heartbeat. Couple hours later, they get her into an MRI and check out her spine, C and T. The results come back, clear with no visible signs of damage. We've been here for 36 hours, and they are clueless, neurologist's exact word, as to what is going on. She can't feel or move anything below her chest. She can move her arms up to her wrists, but can't move her fingers. No twitch, no squeeze, or anything else. The doctor is saying she doesn't think it will be lasting, but she can't guarantee anything. At this time, I'm terrified and beyond scared that she may not walk again or have any use of her extremities. I'm trying to stay calm and strong for her, but when she sleeps, I find myself, more often than not, in tears. I walked downstairs and broke down talking to a stranger, and he stopped me and gave me a hug, and I couldn't help but cling to him, probably longer than he would have liked. If you're a praying person, please send one our way. Updates. We discussed GBS with a neurologist, and doctor both agreed to rule it out. Their reasoning was this was rapidly onset, not gradually. It also started in her hands/arms and later moved to her legs/feet. GBS generally starts over time and in the feet first, and then works upwards. I asked about transverse myelitis. They ruled it out also, but don't remember the reasoning. They're performing a lumbar MRI currently. The neurologist wanted to get a complete picture of everything to help rule things out. He also ordered a LP to rule out things like meningitis. Apologies for the short update. I only had a few minutes to write this out. I'll update again as I get more info. Update, 1 month later. I posted several weeks ago about my pregnant wife having an accident or whatever you'd call it while at work. Quick overview. She heard/felt a pop in her shoulders and lost feeling in her arms and hands. I picked her up from work, and on the way to the hospital, she lost feeling/movement in her legs. Got to the hospital, and they did all kinds of tests, including MRI, ultrasound, EEG, EMG, echocardiogram, EKG, and so many others. They also confirmed baby was good. Update. They decided, wrongly, read more below, on functional neurological disorder. They planned on physical therapy being the best course of action. More to the story. They reached out to the inpatient rehab facility, IPRF, near us, and they denied us going there. They also reached out to the several places within neighboring states, and they all denied us as well. Our next option would be skilled nursing, but our insurance didn't cover that, and it would have cost $2,000 per week and minimum of 3 months at a time. They also told us my insurance was not covering the hospital stay either. Talk about a kick in the nuts. Over the last 7 to 8 years, I've made friends with a couple PTs here in town. I reached out to my neighbor, and she works at a different type of facility, but had friends that work there. She said she'd reach out and find out more info. I also made friends with a guy that worked at another PT facility here in town. He was a groomsman in my wedding, and I was one as also. I reached out to him to see if he knew anyone that worked at the local IPRF. He was on vacation, and his wife, a PT at the hospital, was sitting next to him. She said she'd make some calls and let me know. Skipping some details in the middle here because they don't matter much. The next day, we get a call saying she was approved for the IPRF we were denied at in the first place. My wife and I were talking, and my friend's wife came up, and neither one of us knew where she worked. My wife said to Google her, so I did and kind of find out she worked at the IPRF. Not just worked there, but was one of the top DRS there. She was the one that pulled the string to get us there. They also said my other friend reached out and thought it was interesting that 2 different people were trying to pull strings that were not related or associated at all. We were finally transferred to the IPRF. After 11 days at the hospital, while there we spoke to a new neurologist who wanted to order another MRI. It came back a couple days later. The DR came in and told us she did not have FND. They said she had a spinal cord stroke. My friend and his wife brought us dinner that night, and she wanted to answer questions we may have and said she wanted to transfer us to a better, more specialized facility. We were finally transferred to the spinal rehab facility after 13 days. She is finally being treated for the correct diagnosis and in the correct location. They expect her to be here for the next 2 to 3 months.